Hello everyone, this is Weather coming at you with another update. In this update, we're talking about an upcoming Arctic blast that looks to bring much colder temperatures by the end of March going into the first several days of April. So before I do get started, if you do like weather-related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload daily updates to keep you ahead of the storm. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so let's get started. Let's first of all start off with my true condolences for the 7 family members that lost loved ones yesterday in just the nasty day here in the Southeast. The National Weather Service will be out doing their survey damages over the next several days, and it could take a week or so to truly assess what actually happened yesterday. But it was just a nasty day all around, and those pictures just look horrifying. So unfortunately, we're still going to have to be dealing with some stronger storms over the next several days. And as of this morning, we're dealing with some high winds on March 26th here on Friday up in the Northeast. So right along into Pennsylvania, going to New York, much of New England, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, they're experiencing some really high winds, 50, 60 miles per hour this morning and going on later on today. So as that jet will extend in that area later on today. So you are going to be experiencing those higher wind gusts. So let me kind of take you back to the teleconnections and kind of figure out, what's going to go on going forward. So here's the NAO, which is the North Atlantic Oscillation. You can see it's pretty positive right now, but that noticeable dip that we've been talking about towards the end of the month, going to the first couple days of April, will bring some much colder air into the pattern here. And then also the AO, which is the Arctic Oscillation, is also kind of showing the exact same thing. So we're seeing model congruency now, teleconnections congruency of definitely some chillier, colder air going to be in another picture at the end of March going into the first several days of April. And then as we expand the view, here's the EPO, which is your Eastern Pacific Oscillation. Kind of implies the same thing. It's been, up and down, but historically, the GFS just takes it off the charts, but that's not going to happen. But predominantly, it'll start off in the west because you have troughs. Here's your PNA, your Pacific North American. You'll have troughs coming in from the west, bring your colder temperatures, and it will extend through the central U.S. and eventually get to the east into the first several days of April here. So let me kind of walk you through the surface maps this morning. Going on later on today, that high wind will extend into the Northeast. But by tomorrow on Saturday, we have yet another system that's going to be kind of racing across. It's just this very active jet continues to amplify the pattern. We could see some, marginal kind of risk storms into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but really kind of maybe getting its act together once it gets into portions of Arkansas here, getting into the Tennessee Valley with some definitely stronger storms later on in the afternoon on Saturday, with again some possibly higher, hailstones, higher winds, and unfortunately maybe some isolated tornadoes even with that event coming up on Saturday, especially as you get into the afternoon into the evening, and that will quickly race off into the Northeast as well, as these things are moving 40, 50, 60 miles an hour at times. By Sunday morning, that rain will extend off the coast into Houston, getting into Louisiana, portions of Mississippi and Alabama, getting into extreme portions of Georgia here, going to the Tennessee Valley by then as that severe threat kind of shifts further northeast, and we could be dealing with some stronger storms by then into portions of, say, Virginia, getting into the Carolinas here. So then that's just maybe a slight risk of storms. So nothing terribly too, as big as an impact of what we were experiencing in the Southeast, but definitely some stronger wind gusts, some quarter-size hail or higher. And then you can't always rule out that isolated tornado threat for you guys coming up on Sunday as well. And this will extend further into the Northeast, places into Pittsburgh, or maybe just into more of a marginal risk of storms as they kind of really die down and transfer to more of a, less of a severe threat and just a stronger storm threat as you come up into the mid-Atlantic states. So as we extend the day, going into Monday, that same system will continue moving across. We could see some colder air penetrate the Northeast, and by that time, could see a changeover to some snow into the higher elevations, getting into Virginia, Vermont, New Hampshire, especially into Maine. This could be a little quick snowstorm for you guys up in that region, but I'm not expecting terribly too much, as this is just, again, these things are moving 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, so a really quick system. Back behind it, though, on Monday, you can definitely see where the cold air is going to be coming from, and on our change and the actual pattern that's going to be coming up towards the end of the month, going into the first several days of April, because that's where the cold air is going to come from in the Pacific Northwest. And by Monday morning, we're talking some snow again into the higher elevations of Washington and getting into Oregon. That's going to be inundating in Idaho again with some more snow for those ski resorts. They've just been getting slammed this year, and that just looks to continue in that part of the country. So that will extend and get a little bit further down to the southeast. And look at the anomalies by the time Tuesday morning rolls around. Here's the chart down below. This is Tuesday morning, March the 30th here, and you can definitely see, 9 to 15, upwards to 20 below average temperatures going to be entering the picture of the Pacific Northwest, of some much colder temperatures and still well above average out ahead of it. So where they're going to be dealing with that active jet and continue stormy pattern, but that will change, because here's the actual temperatures by Tuesday morning. You can definitely see where the cold air is coming from. We're talking 20s into much of the Pacific Northwest, into Nevada, Utah, into Colorado, Montana, and the Dakotas. Out ahead of it, you got your 40s and 50s for much of the South, getting into the central U.S. There's that little clipper system that's going to impact the Northeast with some below freezing temperatures for parts of New England. That'll be coming up on Tuesday morning. But as we extend and end March, by the 31st, that colder temperatures will just continue to shift further down in the central U.S., getting into portions of the Ohio Valley now, as that colder anomaly temperatures will be entering the picture, that 10 to 15 degrees below average temperatures. Here's your actual temperatures at the surface. So that colder air continues to push further south. That'll be extending into Minnesota now. I mean, we're talking 20 degrees, for you guys, into Wisconsin, getting into upper portions, upper peninsula of Michigan as well. And that colder push will start to enter Missouri with some 35 degree, temperatures as well for you guys. And then even in the Panhandle, freezing temperatures again, and then 40s back down here into Dallas, and getting into the central parts of Texas as well. And then still, again, out ahead of it, your 60s will hang on, but that colder air will come your way. Here's the actual surface map by then. You can see storms don't like colder air, so back behind it, it's going to be nice. So out ahead of it, we're still going to be dealing with that active jet, some rain showers, stormier pattern, again, still into Arkansas, into the southeast, getting into Tennessee, portions of Kentucky. Eventually, this will get into West Virginia. So that be coming on to the end March. But as we go into April Fool's Day on April 1st, you can definitely see back behind it that colder push, or where it will be. I mean, I wouldn't put too much stock in what it's showing right now for the Northeast, the transfer to snow. We'll just see how this plays out. But the main headlines are going to be, your much colder temperatures back behind it, and a relief from the stormy pattern by then, as that colder push will be, much over the country by then, and some much drier air back behind it as well. Because here's your actual temperatures coming up on April 1st. And you can definitely see below average, below freezing temperatures in much of the Pacific Northwest. Even some 30s entering the picture into Texas. There's your colder push up here to the north, into the Ohio Valley, get into portions of New England, as those colder temperatures will start entering Alabama, getting into Mississippi and Alabama here, as well as Georgia, with some 40s showing up by then. And if we kind of zoom in, do a look at the actual temperatures a little bit better, you can definitely see, a lot of these temperatures are going to be below freezing. Anywhere in red, that's your below freezing temperatures. For that's a lot of area that's going to be experiencing by April 1st. We're talking springtime here. So that's going to be a noticeable chill in the pattern as we're talking 20s in Missouri, even getting down to some upper, like say Mountain Home, Arkansas, getting into portions of the 20s as well. And even if you zoom into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's outlining areas, 35, 36, we may be talking frost advisories by then. So it's going to be one of those evenings, especially even down further south. You may need to cover the plants as you're going to have those, dry by then. Clear skies, light winds, radiational cooling will allow those temperatures to dip all the way down, for a good chunk of the south into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. We're talking mid 30s here. So that's some definitely chillier air. And then as we go into Friday, April the 2nd, that colder push will continue to shift east. And you can definitely see, look at all the red here. We're actually in the 20s, extending all the way down into Tennessee, into Virginia here. So that's some colder push, and even down a little bit further south, getting into parts of the Carolinas here, mid 30s. Mid 30s showing up for Georgia. So we're talking, frost advisories, some freeze advisories as you extend further north. So it'd be one of those things that I know a lot of you guys have probably already planted a lot of your plants and stuff. So you may need to take precaution, bringing a lot of those inside that evening, or at least cover them because you could have some wiltiness on those plants as those colder temperatures will be dipping all the way down for the deep south here. And look at back behind it when I'm talking colder air, and storms don't like colder air. Look at the surface map by then, the 2nd. Hey, it's clear, guys. So it's going to be feeling really nice to come into the first couple days of April there. And that just continues into the 3rd. Those colder temperatures will continue to push off the coast as it definitely modifies out west. But that colder temperatures will be over predominantly the Northeast by then. And we're talking, 30s into Carolinas and Virginias, 20s in West Virginia, 20s in Pennsylvania, New York, much of New England here, and even teens up here in the upper coast here. So definitely some colder air for springtime. And back behind it, here's your surface map on the 3rd. There's not much of anything because it's going to be pretty chilly across the board with some below average temperatures by then for a good chunk over the U.S. So there's definitely some colder air on the table over the next several days after we have several more days of storminess. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after the storm.